Today, I want to tell you about one of my favorite pieces of art of all time. Custom Robo, or in regions outside the US, Custom Robo Battle Revolution, is a 2004 action RPG made for the GameCube by Noise and published by Nintendo. It is the fourth of 5 games in the series, and the first to be released outside of Japan. It also has one of the most bonkers stories of any game I've ever played. For this presentation, I'm mostly doing a Cliff Notes explanation of the game's plot. For this reason, I will mostly be avoiding discussing gameplay or explanations of why I like the game. I am, however, going to go over both very briefly because knowing the mechanics will help you follow the story more, and also I just can't help myself. So, the gameplay is mostly split up into 2 sections. The first being exploring the overworld while having conversations with NPCs, and the second being Robo battles, where you telepathically control action figures called custom robos in a fight with other people's robos. All conflict in this game is solved through these robo battles. Here you see what it looks like to watch other people in a robo battle, while here you see what the battle looks like for the player. The battles basically boil down to shoot each other until one of you dies. Now, let's get into the story. The game starts on a black screen. Through dialogue, your dad gives you a watch, which he calls very special, and makes you promise to never take it off. Super chill, super normal birthday present, Dad. Very cool. Then he tells you he's got to go get cigarettes and never come back. Happy birthday, son! Years in the future, you're telling your landlady that your dad died and that his final wish was for you to become a custom robo commander. Oh, what's a robo commander? You, someone who's never heard of this game, might ask? A robo commander's a person who controls a custom robo. So, no further questions. Also, the dialogue turns green whenever the game is explaining the controls or the tasks you need to accomplish, trying to telegraph to the player that this is important to understand how to play the game. But I was too lazy to read as a kid, so I took the green text to mean I can mash A and skip the instructions, and then immediately be confused as to what to do. So that was a great strategy that worked out really well for me, stupid idiot! After talking to the landlady, you go interview for a job as a bounty hunter. Here you meet Harry, your character's best friend and fellow bounty hunter. His main personality trait is that he's too horny to function. Now, he comes across as a bit sleazy, but he never really crosses a line into problematic territory, so I can still find him a lovable creep. Asterisk, we'll talk about it later. The owner of the bounty hunting company mocks you for not having a custom robo yourself, then sends you on a job for which you are seemingly never paid to show that you can't handle this type of work. On this job you meet Linda, who isn't important for this plot summary, but I want to mention that everybody's super horny for her. Including me. Linda was very possibly my sexual awakening as a child, which probably explains a lot about me. Basically, there are burglars trying to steal a top-secret robo, and when Harry fucks up his one job and we find that robo, he decides the best course of action is they can't steal it if we steal it first. He also comes through with some just amazing fighting tips. Very good, sir. Thank you so much. Ah, chef's kiss. You defeat all the burglars yourself, proving your worth and making it genuine wage theft that you are never paid for this. Harry claims we got them all.
We? Who's we? There is no we.
He then proves what a good person he is by realizing he never bothered asking for your name, which is the game's way of letting you pick it for yourself. As a kid, I'd name myself something so flippin' funny like Poop or Your Mom. So I'm excited to see what our boy Hideface comes up with. Oh, It's just Ben. You went with Ben.
Oh, God.
I'm cutting through a lot of this game's filler, including a subplot where Harry's womanizing causes a domestic dispute, which I'm only mentioning because that description is funny to me, and it introduces us to our third lead, Marcia, the manic pixie token dream girl in this story. You get called in for a job at Diamond's Chinese restaurant, and a motherfucker is just straight up dead. You interact with a corpse in this game. I loved this shit as a child, far too young to be doing this. Marcia uses some sci-fi magic to discover the thing that killed him was a robo that could control itself with no human involvement, something that isn't supposed to exist. Then you're sent to what's clearly supposed to be a bar, but was changed to a cafe in the American localization for some reason. The owner is running an illegal robo battle gambling ring in the back, and one person is winning every fight, causing the owner to lose money. So he wants you to go beat this guy so he can recoup his losses in a super ethical way. Capitalism. The guy winning all the fights is from the Z Syndicate, a crime organization the cops have been after for years, but have never been able to find their hideout. His involvement with the crime organization is revealed with my favorite joke in the game, by the way. After you beat this guy, he runs away, and someone bumps into Marcia, causing her to freak. The robo who killed that dude at the Chinese restaurant shows up and starts tearing the place up. Then these dudes from Z show up wanting to steal the robo, but you fight them and the robo gets away. So you're summoned to the police HQ where they tell you the robo that's killed people is called Rahu, and a few hundred years ago it almost did a genocide to the entire human race. After dropping that info on you, they're just like, I go home, I guess. The next day you go back to the Chinese restaurant because Rahu's there again. The boys from the cafe show back up. They reveal that they're the leaders of the Z Syndicate. And Marcia reveals that that's her brother. You beat them, but they steal Rahu and get away anyway? Back to police HQ to tell them what's happened, and they're like, okay, guess we'll tell you the rest. They tell you Z's hideout is in the outside world, which...
Huh?
You're asked what you know about the world and are presented with these two dialogue options. When you pick round, because why wouldn't you, the characters react like this. Then they ask you this, and if you say there's no end, the characters berate you again. If this information feels like it's coming totally out of left field, I promise it's not because I've done a bad job explaining things. This is just as random and confusing in the game as it is here. It's maybe even worse in the game because at this point, you've been playing for hours and there's been no setup for this reveal. The only hint in the game before this is that the hub world is the only place you can explore, but I assumed that was a gameplay decision to limit where you can go, not that this was the literal entire world. Anyway, the chief of police takes you to the bathroom, and this happens. As you get on a train, Harry commits a casual sexual assault in the one scene that ruins Harry's likability for me. The chief of police thinks this violation of a woman's body is really funny, actually, and so Harry receives no consequences for groping a girl without her consent in front of the cops. The train causes Diamond's Chinese restaurant to shake, and when you arrive here, which, oh my god, here, they tell you that you're in the statue outside the Chinese restaurant. If you're wondering what statue outside the Chinese restaurant, you reacted exactly like me playing this game for the first time. In the establishing shots of the restaurant, I made sure to include the statue, but didn't mention it because the game never explicitly draws attention to it, meaning child me never even noticed there was a statue, and this whole scene was just kind of confusing. Then, well, I'll just let this part play out on its own. Actually wild storytelling choice to give you this world-altering information, immediately followed by a twist which completely changes that information back to the thing you thought it was before the information was given to you. I love this game. They send you into the outside world to infiltrate Z's hideout to stop them and Rahu. You go to the hideout and find these lads again. Their plan is to use Rahu to take over the world, so you get into a fight with them, but then Marcia's brother changes his mind and attacks the boss. You beat the boss, but Rahu escapes again. Marcia's brother tells you your dad was Z's leader until he died recently. Your dad formed Z to defeat Rahu for good, but after his death, the new leader changed its purpose to world domination, and everyone was just chill about that, I guess? Also, that watch from the start is apparently a mind-erasing device that can remove someone's entire memory, which is both how the government tricked everyone into forgetting about the outside world, and also is the only way to defeat Rahu for some reason. Look, the mechanics of this really don't make sense. You're kind of just gonna have to roll with it. So, you take on Rahu with your friends, defeat him once and for all, and everybody agrees to tell everyone who doesn't know about the outside world and Rahu, and that's how the game ends. Custom Robo is an insane game, but for me, that only adds to its charm. It's also full of great character design, a fun gameplay loop, zany characters with fun designs, an absolute banger score, and a really goofy sense of humor that grounds the insanity and makes the game really fun. It holds a special place in my heart as I think the first game I ever beat, and I hope everyone enjoyed hearing about it.